Is the posterior pelvic tilt the answer to getting the core results, the pelvic floor results, the protection to your low back that you want? Let's talk about that today. My name's Tracy Hill, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and I am with Journey Strong, and we help you move, feel, and live your best by getting to the source of what holds you back in your health. Now, let's talk about this posterior pelvic tilt, because if you've ever been to physical therapy, if you've ever been to a trainer or a coach, somebody along the road has maybe taught you this technique to activate your core. Now, they're absolutely right. It does activate your core. The posterior pelvic tilt is this, we think about these pelvic bones and we tell people to roll them back and tuck. And right there, I feel my core is activated, okay? So it does its job. The problem is it getting what we want out of our core? And so the difficulty is as I roll back and I tuck my pelvis, I feel the tension right here underneath my rib cage, activating my core. Down here, I don't feel as much. And so what's happening is that rolling is activating up top, and it's starting to dump the pressure down. Now we're going to stand up, and I'm going to explain to you what this looks like in standing, and especially for a woman, as how this is counteracting what you want out of your core, why perhaps you are continuing to leak when you sneeze, cough, run, or jump during your workouts. All right, now, so if I take that same posterior tilt that we did on our backs and I take it into standing, what it's going to look like is this tuck and clench and dump. Now, a couple things. One, it does not allow your butt to work and be active. So if you want a big, strong, powerful, big butt, you do not want to be posterior pelvic tilting. It puts our back at a disadvantage. And then again, it clenches right underneath our rib cage, so then all the pressure is going downward. Now, why does this affect women more than men? Well, because naturally, as a woman, our anatomy, we have a natural stopping bony block because of our pelvis and of our anatomical organs here in the center that men do not deal with as much. And so with that pubic bone, what happens is when I'm here in just a slight forward tilt versus here, it does not allow my pelvic floor to be as protected in this tilted position. So now, because of that bony position of that pubic bone, all my organs are being put very vertically downward, which means the downward pressure goes vaginally and goes towards your lower abdominal core, and it puts a lot of pressure on that bladder and pelvic floor. And so that's not what you want, because now you're not protected. So now you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage to protect everything dropping downward versus being strong, being active. We have that bony block, that bony stop to prevent those pelvic organs from being prolapsed. Now, another example of how this is important in our real life, if I'm posterior pelvic tilted, again, we already talked about clench, dump, how am I going to move? And so if this is how I treat my core, if this is how I train my core during the planks, during the sit-ups, during the dead bugs, if this is how I know how to operate my core, I can already feel I've got the paunch. So those of you who want to get rid of that persistent pooch that doesn't go away, that lower abdominal pooch, this is part of the reason why, because we're tucked and we're pooched. But now, how do you function in real life? Well, I'm here. It makes it really hard for me to be able to control and to bend down and pick something up, okay? You naturally know this, and you can see it, just the increased stress, the increased load to my low back. My butt is not going to work at all. And so again, we go back to putting ourselves in a positive position, controlling that core. If you've learned our FITT breath technique, our functionally integrated tummy tuck, this talks about this, of putting ourselves in the right position. And now we can get that inhale. We drop the diaphragm, we drop the pelvic floor, they drop, and then we're able to exhale. We're able to load through the core, through the pelvic floor, through the glutes to protect this whole system. And so if you continue to posterior pelvic tilt, you're doing yourself a disadvantage to how your core moves, feels and how you live. So if this is something that you're struggling with, if you're struggling with the persistent pooch, the peeing your pants when you sneeze, jump, run, or if you're battling that chronic back pain that just doesn't go away no matter how many core workouts you do, I challenge you to take part in our FITT Core challenge. It's 21 days. Like I said, we are doctors of physical therapy. Drop FITT Core below, and we're super excited to get you all the details. So watch your posterior pelvic tilt and start fitting yourself to do core, protecting your pelvic floor, protecting your back, protecting your body, and getting the results, not just in your core workouts, but in your life that you want to get.